Yahoo, Prof here, and we got another EDC video for you with the kitten Miss Paisley. She is, however, sleeping right now. After becoming a sausage in the last video, she has switched positions. Let's put away the mouse unboxing. If you guys are interested in that, check out the G309 video. It is what it is. Let's just put it that way. So, oddly heavy box for how thin that is. Must be all the cardboard inside. This weird, like, it looks like a cloth bag, but I think it's actually paper. I pulled off the bottom because they really want you to use PowerPlay with this mouse. PowerPlay kit costs more than the mouse, for reference. But that is not why any of you. It's like bottom heavy. That's very weird. Why you guys are here are that EDC and pen guys. What does that mean? That means it's a pen. On another note, you guys saw me hopefully recently open up the Bob the Box Cutter. Turns out, not the blue-black, but the black-blue Tactile Turn G10 matches it smashingly. Look at that. So that was my EDC today. Why do we have Bob the Box Cutter? Well, because we're going to use it to open the box. Yeah, you can give me a box. We're just testing it out. I want to see, like I said, this is Bob the Box Cutter is probably the first box cutter that I think can match a Tuck XL or an HD. A little bit more play. Definitely noticed this already when using it at work. That much. They found a way to like really block that in. That'd be better. This is something that has been on my radar for not long enough. Apparently it's been around for years. I just apparently checked out of the pen world for a while. And then I saw it and I was like, le gasp! They're knocking off somebody else's stuff. And I noticed that other people were following them. I'm like, oh, they probably aren't. Oh, and it's not even like their stuff. It just looks like their stuff. Okay, fine. Put away my pitchfork and my pickaxe. We're going mining, I guess. I'm gonna just cut it open. Bob. Oh yeah, look at that. Now, guys, granted, it's a box cutter, right? I put Fisker's blades in it, which I think the Fisker's blades are the best carbide, at least, blades available. They do have a weird cutout in the middle there. However, for Bob, it doesn't matter because his magnet is offset to the opposite side of what you're cutting. So this looks fairly similar to CW&T in the packaging. A little bit less minimalist. You'll see why I have these shortly. We got my orange one. This is the one I'm actually going to be using because orange is my color. It's actually one of their colors as well. And we have the black titanium, DLC coated titanium one, and you'll see why. Oh, this looks so good. Right? Well, that was one of the first Kickstarter pens. This pen, the Mark 1, this is from Studio Neat, right? The Mark 1, also Kickstarter pen. Apparently from the era of the EDK from Keras. Because apparently when this was originally reviewed, this was apparently when the Schmidt P8126 was the pen that was in fashion. Oh, well, I can't tear it the rest of the way. Okay, so pro designing tip. If your pen is this long, right? So your pen this long, even when sideways, right? This long. Tear needs to be longer than the pen is. Otherwise, you tear it open and you hit the pen. Wait, this is super lightweight. Okay, founded by Tom and Dan. If you like this product, feel free to tell people. Helps Studio Neat Mark 1. Apparently, you take it out by unscrewing the mechanism. People said this felt amazing. I may have to buy the stainless steel one. This feels light and the mechanism does rattle. Apparently, it used to be worse. That click is substantial though. Holy. Okay, so I actually got the brass / bronze top. Imagine it as silver. I should have got the silver one. But now do you see why I thought thought this was copying this? Because the pen type B from CW&T, especially imagine that with a silver top there. I do think the silver looks better. That looked very, very similar, right? Turns out I was completely wrong because on here, for those that don't know, on the pen type B, this is a sleeve because it's based on the pen type A, where this was a ruler. This is the pocket version. This is like the titanium version of the pocket version. This is the DLC coated titanium version of the titanium version of the pocket version. Yeah, engraved too. So, however, on the Studio One, this is kind of, or the Studio Neat Mark 1, this is bouton. Le bouton. That feels good. That is, they got that right. Now you're like, why are you talking about the Schmidt P8126? P8126, Studio Neat. I don't even know if that's a legit Schmidt. Let's find out. Maybe they just got it branded. Here we go. Schmidt P8126. Sorry. So this has a number of 202 on it. This has a number, same spot, of 406. I don't know if that's a batch number or what that is. These probably just got branded. You do not need, they look very, very similar. You do not need to go to Studio Neat to buy your P1826 refills. Go to Amazon. Yeah. Just go to Amazon. If you're wondering, I mained P1826 refills for the longest time while I was working at Geek Squad. You're like, why? I thought you like, 0.38, 0.4. Like generally I like a 0.4. The 0.38 is just a hair smaller, and Uniball doesn't make. Actually 0.35. Rotring 0.35, beautiful. This is double that. Why? Why would you want this? Well, the EDK takes this refill, which was my everyday carry for Geek Squad. The other pen that I carried daily was the original, I don't remember if it's tactile turn glider. I think it's glider. Might be the slider though. It also takes the P1826. That one I have in stainless steel. But I actually used my EDK enough daily from Keras. You've seen it before. It's copper bottom. Screws got it for me. He actually got both of those for me, not because they're for Geek Squad, because he saw me use them every day, etc. And you're like, well, why does it matter to have the thicker refill? Well, if you're writing on like a blank piece of paper, like think printer paper or something like that, or writing notes to older people, writing it really tiny. Like I like writing and fitting. The reason I like the Spiner refill is I can fit generally minimum 4, if not 6, if not more lines with lines underneath on a sticky note, right? That's 4 max with a P8126, right? So, but however, when you're writing for other people and you're writing out directions, you actually want a bolder refill, and the P1826 is a very bold refill. For the size of it, like the 6mm that it is. You can also get the P1827, too big in my opinion. I've always bought the 8126. So, and I used that, like I said, my main one was the EDK, pop it out, click the thing. I actually replaced the mechanism twice on that until Keras redid theirs out of full brass on the inside, because it used to be this mishmash of like steel with a clip and brass and you name it. Why did I then, because I think compared to the pen type B there, this feels too light. It feels you know, I said it felt cheap before. Maybe that's because it felt light for its thickness or hollow. For those wondering, P1826, the spring should catch on the refill. It loops around the little post in there, if that makes sense. So that should happen. Should be spring retaining. This apparently is their own custom mechanism. I can tell you, as soon as I saw these little wingadingas on this little post that goes through, zoom on in, wingadingas, post, right? I know, I don't remember which one it is based on, but I already knew that it was based on, like it's based on another mechanism, right? They didn't design their own from scratch. But this does go kind of around the outside versus the inside on many of these. The other thing that's interesting is on a lot of these, this is in there, and that's what I was trying to get to. Look at that. So this screws in, and this goes up and down, right? So a lot of times your mechanism isn't directly connected to... There you go, look at that. So the only time it'll go all the way up, there you go. You gotta hit that exact, see there's sliders in there? So it's actually kind of ingenious because this part moves, but then also this part moves. Like I said, that's definitely, they did not engineer that from scratch, I'm assuming. It's kind of like the side click from Tactile Turn. That is designed off of a classic pen as well. Now that mechanism is out of patent, I believe, so they could do that. That is a click. I'm warming up to it. I'm warming up. The first impression of it being a little bit lightweight, I think a lot of people said, oh, the stainless steel one is super heavy. I should have got this in silver, too. I no longer like the gold. That would look much better next to that in silver. I don't know how I feel about that. I wanted to get the gold one because it looked different, but I'm regretting my decision. I don't want to say it looks cheap, but it kind of does. Tacky. You know, like everything was rose gold back when Apple added that as an option. So everything kind of became that. They called this brass, and like I said, I want to say that's more of a rose gold than a true brass. I thought it was gonna be like a brass, you know. I don't think I have any brass pens over here at the moment. I think that almost feels like plastic, like a plastic cap. Now the one nice thing is this entire body is aluminum. That mechanism that you saw is full aluminum. The one thing that I would worry about a full aluminum mechanism is galling, because raw aluminum on raw aluminum, you'll get galling on it, which will bind it up, make it less smooth. But like, that's a click. That's a click if I ever. And yes, like the nice poop sound. Boop. That's what you always get out of a pen type B. So it is shorter than a pen type B. It's longer than a pen type B when clicked or unclicked, either. I want to say it weighs about the same. The titanium pen type B weighs about the same as the whole pen of the Mark 1. I should have got the silver. It would have fit in so much better than this. They called it bronze. Live and learn. Live and learn. That doesn't look good. I think their pictures showed black with silver and white with this bronze, quote unquote bronze. It's definitely more rose gold. The other thing I can get is the OG. Oh, grab. There you go. We got the 3 OGs here. Bada bing, original pen type B. That is stainless steel. Stainless steel. And then brass. There you go. That's brass. Oh, so smooth. This is heavier than this entire thing, for sure. And that's not including. Oh, look at that nice tarnish on there. This is brass. Oh, so smooth. The titanium is nicer to write with because of the reduced weight. That's for sure. Oh, that feels good too. But the smoothness of that is unparalleled. Unparalleled. Orange eye that I already took a chip out of it because this is the one I use if I'm going to grab one. The orange one. See, now imagine if that was silver. That would go with. I shouldn't have, like, for some reason, I talked myself into getting the brass. Alright, so here's something else, and this is something somebody can probably correct me on. They say this is one milled piece, but there's a seam. See it? Look at that. I don't think that's just for me rolling it a couple times. If it is, that's some bad Cerakote. No, to me that looks like a seam, like, and it makes sense, in my opinion, because that is a tube, right? But they said that this was milled out of one piece originally. Now, over the years, that may have changed. May or may not have changed. Okay, from here, that doesn't look that bad, to be truthful. In real life, I don't know, it just seems cheap. I would prefer now, if the silver one looks like plastic chrome, I don't know if I would have preferred it. Right? But here's the OGs. My original EDK, that Squares got me, originally had a silver clicker. I do actually have the upgraded clicker in silver for it as well. But then when they went to black, I'm like, I should swap it out. So there you go. See, it's full brass inside of there. Whereas it used to be, there'd be a stainless steel ball bearing, or not stainless steel, chrome plate, like chrome ball bearing in there. The track would be one material. Then there'd be a circlip, I think those are called. And then there'd be like a piece that goes all the way through. Those wore out because basically what ended up happening is the ball bearing was harder than the material, and it would wear a track into it, which then it would not engage properly. But important part here, there you go, P8126. If you notice, this is how old this Keras is. No O-ring. All their new stuff has a gap and an O-ring to seal. So Thing still works amazingly. They used to make these. They don't make these bi-metal ones anymore, which kind of sucks. I love it. I think pens should be tip heavy. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that wiggle waggle down there. So that means when you're holding it here, you don't have like it's tip heavy. So good. At one point, I did actually re-drill, sort of like a re-mill myself, because this wasn't fitting in there cleanly, and turned out like I think it got dropped at some point. Well, I know I dropped it onto something harder. You can see there's a chip right there, right there, and I actually had to file that out. I think because this is copper on the bottom, because it's heavier than even brass, right? I think it got like slightly oblonged at one point. Very hard to tell, but I think it did. And then that no longer, like, basically the refill was catching inside of there, so I just took a drill bit and basically killed the drill bit. But I was milling out, held this, you know, like down with my hand, I think with a glove, and just went, you know, until I got all the way down to the tip. Thing still works beautifully. I could keep rocking this daily if I wanted to. Where this grip is, you know, like the clip goes in, that sticks out, you pull it out via that. The only thing that can match it, get me a modal where there's knurling up here and some sort of grip down here. Because modal is the same length, except you can put things other than the P8126 in there. And then this is the other one that I was rocking. So I was rocking these two in my pocket at all times. This is way heavier because this is stainless steel. So that's kind of why I'm interested in that guy is stainless. This is very early tactile turn. My first one of these actually was not milled straight and had to get redone. Because like a Parker refill would work, but if you took a Schmidt refill, which they were also rated to fit, and you put it down in here, even without the spring in, it couldn't do that. I think David Squares had issues with his green one as well. And then for some reason, I don't know why he did it, but he kept part of one and the other one so they don't line up, which, like, I don't think we knew at the time, or maybe we didn't care about it at the time, or he didn't really care. When they mill these, they actually screw them together and then mill them in one thing. So that makes his not line up. They quickly went away from this super long, because they didn't want to make a bolt. Everybody was making a bolt at the time, right? So they did this, but that's a trip. You know, like, you know, compared to here. So this is where Karas got it with their not really a bolt modal. It's like a check mark. You know. Here, heck, this knife probably has less travel than this pen does. Like I said, there were so many bolt pens at the time. I'm sure they wanted a bolt pen without having a bolt pen. So, but yeah, that's where that comes from. I think I should have gone silver for the button. Shouldn't have talked myself out of that. And it turns out the designers, which make a nice looking pen, do indeed know what looks good, and the silver on the black looks better, and this sort of, they call that brass, but that is rose gold. Now, like I said, it doesn't look bad like that, especially next to that. You're like, ah, yes, that looks better. It's just too dark. But I will bring this in, rock it, and see how it runs. I wouldn't mind, like, the length of this. Here you go. 5 inches is what's considered pretty darn good. Little bit long when you have it extended, but it's right in that realm, and that's what Karas decided. If you notice, their EDK was the same. So this same refill, the P8126, if you look, it's right in that realm, and that's considered like an optimal, like, it's long enough that when you extend it in your hand like this, it's still, you know, like, it's still there, but it's not so long that it's like a spear, like something like a slim bolt here, where you got all this extra, and especially like on a bolt, there's weight up here with the clip and the bolt mechanism. You know, with the slim, that can not be an issue, and generally on the like, here's my numbered Nebula. This is a thicker pen, so you don't really have that issue with it, but some of them can get really unwieldy up top there, depending on the model. Like, here's Linus Tech Tips pen, LTT pen. Like, you do not need all that just to put that clip in. You know, also the bolt's on the wrong side. You gotta, like, use it with your pointer finger. They're learning, okay? It's made out of screwdriver parts. But, you know, like, you don't need all that, really. It depends, though. They may have already had it, because this is screwdriver. If that's the same length, you know, like here to here, screwdriver. They made it out of shafts. That to there might also be screwdriver. And that may be the piece of metal they had, so, like, might as well use it. I'm not sure. But it's a lefty. And not just because of this, but your clip wouldn't be here. It would be... You know, and also when you put it in your pocket, this catches. In my opinion, it's on the wrong side. They don't agree necessarily. You know. But this mechanism, some people don't vibe with it because no clip. So like, oh, it's more desk pen, can't be a pocket pen. It's gonna be a pocket pen. Would be cool to have a clip option. Okay, yeah, it would. Also, because it's so round, what did CW&T do? They ran flat side on it, so it doesn't roll around. If you notice, those didn't move. Right, so that would be another thing here. You could get that round pen look, but then would be even more of a copy. Like I said, imagine this silver. Like these two on the ad, it looked like that. I was like, oh, somebody copied them. Nope, because it's a button. Which is an interesting thing. I actually asked CW&T once, do you ever consider making this into a... And because they use the Hi-Tec-C refill, the answer is no. Because the stock Hi-Tec-C refill is not available in click mechanism. There are, however, click variants available, but they suck. Why do they suck? I don't think they necessarily advertise it, but from what I've seen, all of them still store it tip up, which if you actually have a true click pen, that's not going to happen unless you have the weird pen where the tip comes out of the cap, like there are fountain pens that do that. Otherwise, what they're using them for is either screw-off pens or capped pens. So it would still be up like this, but then you put the cap on, and that's it in your pocket or your shirt pocket or wherever. So to me, this doesn't feel metallic. It feels like chromed plastic. I might be wrong. Also, like I said here, they said this is milled out of one piece, right? Like this whole thing. I don't think it is anymore because that seam on the tip, and it would make sense. It's going to be way cheaper to use tube for all these and graft on the end, in my opinion. Because like otherwise you need, and for an CW&T has talked about this, they even do that on their sheath for it, right? But even drilling out the tube to the diameter they wanted, they had to use like a gun bore drill. Super long, and they actually did it longer than one pen at a time, and they cut it up, right? But then to make this end part, they needed a long end mill because that would get heated up and then actually like fused on, like shrunken fit. I don't know how to explain that. I don't know if this is the same way or not, but they went through a lot of their engineering and made it public, and it got stolen by. Or prior to them kind of doing that, it got stolen when they were trying to make it in China. So they made it in the US and still do to this day. So, Mark 1, I think it looks really interesting. If you want a lightweight pen, remember, only the 8126. They have not updated it. They do make the Mark III, which is a pencil, and the Mark II is a... I think it uses Space Pen, and it's the kind where you take the cap off and flip it around. That kind of Space Pen. Maybe a little bit thicker if you've seen some of the thicker ones, because it's probably the same thickness as the Mark I you just saw. Visually, I read, for buying this, I bought the, or I read the Pen Addicts review. I've been following him for a long time. I don't like read his blog anymore because I'm not like that hardcore into pens anymore. But I did read his review of this from many years ago. He's like, it's a decent P8126 refill pen. That was basically his reply. Does he need another one? He's like, no. The one thing he did mention, and I wanted to get free shipping, so I ordered this, the Cosmonaut Capacitive Stylus for Touchscreens. This is where he thinks the design heavily came from. Oh, that actually feels really good in the hand. It kind of looks like chalk, I want to say, like modern Crayola chalk. Yeah, and there's the capacitive part. Let's try it with my, I was going to say try it with my phone. You guys are my phone. Yeah, it's working. They designed this, and it's running much like pen type C, which is the foldable bookmark pen. CW&T to design that to be the size of a Sharpie. I don't remember if it's cap on or cap off. Maybe it might be cap off, folded, cap on the back of it, unfolded. This is designed to be the same size and thickness. Its butt end is actually really heavy because of this metal. Apparently the tip is replaceable. I saw that on their website. I didn't see any replacement tips, but this is, I don't want to say it's their first product, but it's one of their first ones. I thought I'd pick it up because I don't have any sort of like stylus for, like those used to be really popular and then they became like commodity items where they give it to you for free as like a promotion item with something. Or you buy like a stupid like, oh, get this 15 item mobile kit for your iPod Touch. You know, it'd all be included in there. Or you give a little like stumpy ones. You know, if you're gonna get a little stumpy one, might as well just use your finger. But this is kind of interesting because it's supposed to emulate a dry erase marker, like an Expo standard dry erase marker. And like I said, the thickness, width, and hand, this is a very grippy rubber. It actually seems pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, and with this, because the tip is so broad. Remember, you're not trying to be like a Surface Pen or the Apple Pencil with this, because this is emulating your finger. So having something thicker kind of makes sense because you then inherently know it's going to be more broad. Does that make sense? At least it does in my brain. So why did I pick this up? Well, I needed to hit minimum shipping quantities, and back when Pen Addict reviewed this, he was like, this for the Kickstarter is obviously inspired by that. Also, if you look at this end, this is probably why I should have gotten silver as well. Silver. So the inherent design of this with this matte black silver cap, if you look, the proportional, like the angles of the tip proportionally are very similar. And I needed to, like I said, I was close to the free shipping. I would hate to give $10 shipping, or do I buy a $20 stylus? That's probably why they do that. They got me. I actually didn't have a stylus. This thing, infinitely playable because the weight is on its butt end, and something like this, it seems to go through, and that's actually what you're touching. So I don't know, like, how capacitive styluses like this work, like as in like what they're emulating, because obviously very cheap ones with a little cheap little rubber thing on it will do it too. Obviously this whole thing is rubber, so it looks like a standard tip, except when you press, it deforms. And you're hitting some sort of rod that's going all the way through. The Cosmonaut. Capacitive stylus for touchscreens. Studio Neat. Like I said, this, for the era, because this came even before this, this would have been a very common Kickstarter-y thing. I was never super into it. Like I said, would I have bought this if I didn't need to like meet the shipping thing? Probably not. The other reason why I bought it is because Pen Addict mentioned that it was the inspiration for this, and it very much is. You can tell it. Imagine that was silver too. This butt end silver. You know, like they're going for a specific look. Yeah, like I said, I kind of wish I went with... I tried going with the brass, but that does not look like brass at all to me. And I was kind of interested when I was buying it, by the way, because they do not list it as brass per se. Let's see here. What do they list it as? Mark 1. They just call it, like, yeah, they call it black plus silver. Oy, oy, oy. It's a 3D render. It guaranteed is. Holding up, it looks similar. I should have stuck with the ones that they showed, like I said. They showed black with silver, white with... says aluminum steel body, aluminum mechanism, polished steel knock. That would be the click mechanism. I don't know about that. To me, it seems chromed. I could be wrong. And maybe they don't say on their site anymore that it's made out of one piece. Maybe it never did. Maybe I inferred that out of reading stuff. But it's definitely not seamless. There's a seam. Yeah. I think it's going to be an interesting addition. That is a nice click mechanism, that's for sure. Way more ka-chonky than the EDK you just saw. We'll see how much I use it. I don't know that this is necessarily going to become one of my main pens. I may be interested in getting a stainless steel version of this, and in that they have a black plus black, which is a black steel plus a black chrome top there. Yeah, I don't know. Straying from the brands I usually do tends to bite me annoyingly. Yeah, it could be their demonstration that I inferred the click mechanism from, or like not their demonstration. Like they have things showing that the metal goes straight through here, whereas if there's a seam, it definitely doesn't. They don't say that though, and maybe initially it was made that way because theoretically it could have been milled all the way down there and then the tip milled out. Probably much easier to make a tube though. It does feel good. I do worry about the aluminum click mechanism over time calling up in there, because that's normally why brands will use brass or something like that, so you don't have that issue. But by making it out of aluminum, it's very light. So Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you guys have a Mark 1? Have you considered buying one? Do you also think I messed up and didn't get the silver one like I did? This thing is actually fairly well like balanced for, because with how short it is, this puts the weight like in your hand. They like have it showing with like an iPad 2, I think, because iPad 2 existed for literal forever for those of you that don't know. And I could see this as being a prime candidate for that. Or even with my Surface. Yes, I have the Surface Pen, but if you just need to do touchy stuff and you don't want to pokey it, you know, boop, 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 boop. So, always kind of interested in this, especially like, this is almost more for this video than anything. You're like, Elliot, why do you mean for your video? You never release your videos. You hate editing them. Yeah, I agree. But, you know, with the reference from, I was just interested from the review that, you know, like this was influenced by that, and, you know, interested in picking it up, because this actually did seem like an interesting product for what it was. Do I think a stylus for a capacitive stylus for a touchscreen is groundbreaking? No. Boop. Imagine it. Here, what they need to do is take this and make it go boop, boop, and have like a 1.2 millimeter, 1.3 millimeter, like my mom likes, you know, pen refill in there. She would love this if this was the pen. You're like, you're insane. Nope, I'm not. People like different things. That's all I'll say. You know, just like the pen, the mouse review we just had. Not partial to me in the least. Maybe one of you likes it. Just let me know down below in the comments. Have a good one as always. Peace.